Well, I am streaming on Twitch right now, and I do have to ask myself the question sometimes. What if we are the aliens?
Every single species on this planet has spent millions of years adapting to Earth. Fish developed gills to breathe underwater. Birds evolved hollow bones to fly. Polar bears grew thick fur to survive the Arctic. And then there's us. We burn in our own sunlight. Our spines are falling apart. We give birth in a process so violent it kills us more than any other mammal on the planet. And we're the only species that looked around at the world it evolved in and thought, something's off. What if the reason we don't fit on Earth is because
I feel personally attacked by a fellow human. Like, I get it, if an alien was saying this to me, it would feel less offensive, but the fact it is another human saying this to me, I feel personally attacked. He's not wrong about anything, but I feel attacked. But
we're not from here. Lizards sit in direct sunlight for hours. Dogs, cats, horses, elephants, they spend their entire lives under the same sun and handle it just fine. Their fur, their scales, their pigmentation,
this guy could be an
all
alien.
Perfectly calibrated for our star. Ours isn't. We literally had to invent a chemical paste and rub it on ourselves just to go outside safely. Think about that for a second. We invented sunscreen because our own sun is trying to kill us. Now, look at your back. 80% of humans will experience chronic back pain at some point in their lives.
Yeah, but don't we just have back pain because we're not quite evolved to standing up straight, right? Aren't we naturally meant to have an arc in our spine? Like an arch in it, sorry. I'm about 90% certain we're meant to have a natural arch in our spine, but the way that we have pushed like a good posture thing, I think it's actually incorrect, right? That's why like ergonomic and actually like somewhat slouching was pushed. Exactly, we were apes, so I that just seems like a residual thing from evolution, from poor posture. I thought it stemmed from the fact that we're not meant to be directly up straight all the time.
When 4 out of 5 members of your species share the same structural problem. You stop blaming the individual and start looking at the blueprint. Our spines are essentially a horizontal bridge that evolution tried to stand upright. The discs between our vertebrae compress under gravity in ways they were never meant to handle. Other bipedal animals like kangaroos and ostriches don't have this issue. Their bodies were built from the ground up for standing.
It's lucky for some, isn't it?
Retrofitted badly. Then there's childbirth. This
video's gonna get me
rough.
beefing with animals.
Human childbirth is the most dangerous birth process of any mammal on the planet. Our babies' heads are so big they barely fit through the birth canal. Before modern medicine, giving birth was one of the leading causes of death for women throughout all of human history. No other species routinely dies trying to deliver healthy offspring. That's just us. A horse gives birth in about 30 minutes. The foal stands up and walks within the hour. A human baby can't even hold up its own head for months. We show up completely useless, dependent on others for years, more helpless than any other animal that has ever existed on.
You know, you might be onto something, Vicky. This guy must be an alien. He must be an alien because I'm feeling attacked right now.
This planet. And then there are allergies. Your immune system has one job: protect you. But in humans, this system regularly goes to war against things that are completely harmless. Pollen, peanuts, dust,
Don't get me
cat
started,
hair,
pollen.
shellfish. About 30% of the global population has allergies. Your own defense system is attacking the air you breathe and the food you eat.
Yeah, but dogs
Either
have allergies.
Evolution made a serious mistake, or your body is calibrated for somewhere else entirely. But the strangest part isn't physical. It's in your head. No other animal on Earth knows it's going to die. Dogs don't lie awake wondering what happens after death. Dolphins don't have existential crises. Elephants don't build religions to cope with the terror of mortality. But we do. All of us. We are...
That's not knowledge we humans know yet. We don't know as an absolute fact that they don't sit there dreaming about it at night. Even more evidence this man has access to technology that is not of human origin. I'm sus at this man. What is his name?
Are the only species walking around with the full awareness that one day we'll stop existing. And instead of just dealing with it, we've spent our entire history trying to solve it. We build temples, we write philosophies, we create entire civilizations organized...
Why is there like a condiment bottle just in the middle of buildings? W Ketchup Tower.
Around the question of what happens when we die. Why would evolution do this to us? Seriously, what survival advantage does existential dread provide? For most of human history, this awareness has driven people to despair, to madness, to war. It feels like a feature you'd find in a species that's out of place, conscious enough to sense something is wrong, but unable to figure out what. And then there's the one that's hardest to explain away. Every species on this planet exists in some kind of balance with its ecosystem. Predators keep prey in check. Prey keeps plant life in check.
We actually discussed this.
Decomposers recycle nutrients back into the soil. It's a closed loop. Everybody plays their part, except us. We clear...
Sorry, YouTube, by the way. You guys remember, you know, when I was playing Cyberpunk, we literally like went into this. Like, we're the only things that like adapt our environment to us. Everything else evolved to adapt to the environment. Like, it is an interesting thing. It seems to be the only thing on the planet that has done it.
Cut forests, we poison rivers, we pump the atmosphere full of gases that heat the planet. We've driven thousands of species to extinction, and we're not even close to slowing down. We're not participating in Earth's ecosystem. We're taking it apart. And if you think about it, that's exactly what you'd expect
I reckon we're
from
from
an
Mars.
invasive species.
I think we're from Mars.
Something dropped onto a planet it wasn't built for. It doesn't know the rules because the rules weren't written for it. So if we really don't belong here, where did we come from? In 1973, Francis Crick published a paper that should have shaken the scientific world. He won the Nobel Prize in 1962 for figuring out how the molecule that carries all of life's instructions actually works. He's one of the most important scientists who ever lived. And in that 1973 paper, written with chemist Leslie Orgel, he proposed something wild. He called it directed panspermia. The idea
that you could have picked any other term. Panspermia? Really? No wonder nobody cared. No wonder nobody cared about your magnificent study. They probably thought if they believed in it, they were going to get pregnant. By a pan. Pfft. Yeah, we are parasitic in nature, I would agree, Lola. Yeah, but not like on the extent, right? That's like minor.
That life on Earth didn't start here, that it was deliberately seeded by an intelligent civilization from somewhere else in the galaxy. The man who decoded DNA looked at the story of life on Earth and said, I don't think this adds up. And honestly, the evidence backing him up is hard to dismiss. Life showed up on Earth roughly 3.8 billion years ago. The planet itself is only about 4.5 billion years old. That means complex organic chemistry appeared just 700 million years after Earth formed. In geological time, that's basically overnight. The planet was still getting hammered by asteroids, still cooling from a molten hellscape of rock and toxic gas. And
some people, like, on Earth today are still getting hammered by really hot balls. It's crazy. It's crazy. A little bit less destructive, but still, some people are taking hot balls to the face daily, and nobody is talking about this. It's actually wild.
Somehow, life popped up almost the second conditions allowed it. Biologists have always found the timing suspicious. Then there's the Murchison meteorite. In 1969, a rock from space crashed into southeastern Australia. When scientists cracked it open, they found over 90 different amino acids inside, the building blocks of life. And some of those amino acids are the exact same ones found in every living thing on Earth. Organic chemistry, just riding through space on a rock. And here's the thing, we know life can actually survive out there. Tardigrades, those microscopic little guys that look like eight-legged gummy bears, have been exposed to the vacuum of space, to cosmic radiation, to temperatures near absolute zero, and they made it.
I feel like they'd be good guys.
An Israeli spacecraft carrying tardigrades.
Is that weird to say? I feel like they would be nice people. You know, if you made them big and I could have a conversation with them, I get a vibe that it would be a very warm hug. You know that type of guy that if, you know the girls in the chat, if you got that guy bothering you in like the club or a bar, that's the big like warm guy. He doesn't want anything from you. He's just going to come in and just be like, are they bothering you? And then as soon as these sorts of problem, he's going to walk away into his ball of wholesomeness in the corner. You know, that type of, that's the vibe they give me. Yeah, they'd give you a cup of coffee. They'd invite you in for a tea.
tardigrades crashed on the moon. Scientists think some of them might still be viable up there, just sitting on the lunar surface,
That's
waiting.
wild.
Life doesn't just exist on Earth. It can hitch a ride between worlds. In 2013, ecologist Dr. Ellis Silver published a book called Humans Are Not from Earth, pulling together all the physiological evidence that we're poorly adapted to this planet. The sunburn, the back pain, the allergies, the dangerous childbirth, even our circadian rhythm being slightly off from a 24-hour cycle. He argued these weren't just quirks of evolution. They were signs we came from somewhere else. But here's where it gets complicated.
I will just add to that again. Oh my god, am I pausing too much? I'm so sorry, people on YouTube that are just pure shaking their fist with rage. But I mean, dogs can't stay out in the sun for too long. They can get heat stroke. They don't have the natural ability to sweat, which tends to be quite fatal. I'm only using dogs as an example because I know that. I mean, you could focus on the weaknesses of evolution in a lot of different species. I think that's probably, I don't know, that's a bit harsh. And we're also the only thing that could be super hyper analytical about ourselves. So I'm going to take this with a grain of salt. I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. To an extent. I get the vibe, but I don't know. That it's kind of cherry picking some parts to further a narrative. But that's not to say I would believe that we were just from Mars or some shit.
Mainstream biology actually has a pretty good answer for almost all of it. It's called evolutionary mismatch. And honestly, it might be even more interesting than the alien theory. Back pain. We only started walking upright about 6 million years ago. Sounds ancient, right? But evolution moves slow. Really slow. Our spines haven't had enough generations to fully figure out this whole standing thing. We're basically walking around in a prototype that never got its final update. Sunburn. We lost our body hair.
Lola, you get sin poisoning? The name of, gone. Taken away. Sorry.
Best theory is thermoregulation. When our ancestors moved from forests onto open savannas, they needed to cool down while running for hours under the African sun. Sweat works way better on bare skin than through fur. So we traded our protective coat for the ability to outrun literally every other animal on the planet. The sunburn is just the price we pay. Childbirth. Our brains got bigger faster than our birth canals could keep up. Scientists call it the obstetric dilemma. Evolution was trying to make us smarter and keep us upright at the same time, and the pelvis basically got caught in the middle. It's messy, it's dangerous, but it makes sense. Even the environmental destruction thing has a rational explanation. We evolved in small groups on the savannah where resources felt endless compared to how few of us there were. Our brains are wired for short-term survival, not managing an entire planet's ecosystem. We're not alien invaders. We're just an animal that got way too powerful, way too fast for its own wiring to handle. So
we're OP.
That settles it, right? Well, not quite, because even after all those explanations, there's one thing evolutionary biology still can't fully account for: the speed. No species in the 4 billion year history of life on Earth has ever done what we did. Dolphins have been around for...
Yeah, do you know what? I'm interjecting again because I really hope the next bit is on this soil. But the stoned ape theory is a glorious theory that feels like they thought about it whilst off their head on narcotics, but I bloody love it. It's a fantastic one to imagine. Just a bunch of apes discovered that they could just get really high off their tits on mushrooms, and then somehow that made the brain go, ooh, I like my brain being fully lit up in weird ways, and we just evolved in that way. I love that. Dolphins get high on puffer fishes. Do you know that? They pass it around, like, pass the puffer to the left-hand side. That's what they do.
For roughly 50 million years. They're smart. They have complex social lives. They communicate. And in all that time, they have never built a single tool. Not one. Chimpanzees figured out sticks about 4 million years ago. They have not filed a single upgrade since. And then there's us. We went from sharpened rocks to nuclear weapons
How are they
in about
build
2 million years.
a tool,
From
a
fire to
dolphin?
the International Space Station. From cave paintings to artificial intelligence. From banging flint together to landing robots on Mars. 200 years ago, we didn't have railroads. 125 years ago, airplanes didn't exist. 75 years ago, we hadn't been to space. 35 years ago, there was no internet. Nothing in the entire history of life on this planet has ever accelerated like that. Nothing even comes close. And scientists still can't agree on why. Some think it was language. Some think it was cooking, which gave us more calories and let our brains get bigger. Some point to a mutation in a gene called FOXP2, that may have unlocked.
We know the answer. What does the fox say? It says, consume your planet's resources, burn it, and then leave for another one when you get the technology to do it. There we go.
Complex speech. Others say it was our ability to teach, to stack knowledge across generations so each one picked up where the last left off. All of those probably played a role, but none of them fully explain the sheer speed of it. Every other intelligent species on Earth took tens of millions of years to develop gradually. We went from prey animal to running the entire planet in what amounts to a geological blink. Crick couldn't explain it, Silver couldn't explain it, and modern evolutionary biology can explain pieces of it, but not the whole thing. Not yet. The most honest answer science has right now is we don't fully know. We've got pieces, we don't have the full picture, and that's what keeps the question alive. Look, it's probably not true that we're aliens. The evolutionary evidence is strong. Mismatch theory handles most of the weird stuff about our bodies. We're almost certainly a product of this planet, shaped by the same forces that shaped everything else here. But almost certainly is not definitely. And when real scientists, including one of the founders of modern genetics, look at the evidence and say, something here doesn't quite add up. That's not conspiracy talk. That's just science doing what science does, asking the uncomfortable questions and being honest when the answers don't come out clean. It's the same curiosity that made us look up at the stars in the first place. The same restless.
I don't mind them asking the questions. I think I'm more scared for the answers than I am the questions. You can keep asking them. Just if you find out an uncomfortable home truth, perhaps better to leave it in the box, you know? I think sometimes that's how I feel about science. You know what I mean? Like, you can ask the questions, but sometimes I feel like they discover something and then they just announce it. And sometimes I feel like it's knowledge that I just would have been better off not knowing. It's almost like, what do you want me to do with that? You know, what are you going to tell me if I'm alien and this planet is slowly killing me and we actually live for 1,000 years on a different planet? Then I'm just going to live my whole life thinking, damn, curse this damn planet. You know, I'm going to be really angry that, you know, hey ho, we live in eternal paradise somewhere else, but we crash landed on the rock that kills us. That's going to piss me off. Just don't tell me.
That made us build rockets and telescopes and send little robots to other planets just to see what's there. Maybe that restlessness isn't a flaw. Maybe it's a clue. Because if we are from here, then we're the strangest thing this planet has ever produced. A species that burns in its own sunlight, breaks under its own gravity, and can't stop looking at the sky wondering where it really came from. And if we're not from here, then we've been trying to find our way home for 200,000 years, and we don't even know it. Every single...
That was a pretty good video. I mean, I personally think... I mean, we probably already know the answer. Whether you want to, like, agree with the outcome or not. I mean, it's probably just we got a promotion too quickly. You know, we were on probation. We were a temp. We did all right. We did a couple of things too well, and then they said, "Hey, run the whole store." And we just didn't know how to, maintain the books. And we're struggling a little bit. But, you know, you learn on the job. As I said, we upgraded our OS without working out the bugs. Yeah. Almost like a tech bro, Silicon Valley style, pump out the patches and deal with the bugs later. Happens on a faster scale than most people realize. I mean, definitely in our case. But I don't know. I mean, it's still quite a long time though, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's either that or we are from Mars and I mean, look at Mars. Maybe that's what's coming. Who knows?